start this show.
How are we going to start this show?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
How are we going to start the show?
I don't know. What do you mean?
We got to say something smart so people know we're intelligent.
That's a joke. I don't know nothing. Do you know anything?
I have no idea. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, let's find out what they know.
Can we start this show now?
Dude, what the hell are you talking about? Let's go!
Oh my God. Another 2 weeks have gone by. What the hell are you doing, man?
Man, time is just flies, Stein. I don't even know what day it is anymore.
Well,
to be honest with you, it's all just blending into one, especially during this market, during everything that's going on in the world right now. It's just, yeah.
What kind of market are we talking about? A grocery store or some shit? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? I'm talking about market. I don't even know what I said.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot going on, man, in the world, and time just seems to be going pretty quick. So that's why it's another 2 weeks. How are you today,
Wait till you get to my age, man.
So I hear. I hear the older you get, it just gets worse.
Yeah, man.
It just gets worse. The older you get, the quicker time goes, and before you know it, yeah, you're 95, sitting in a chair. I'm looking forward to that time.
I hope to get to 95.
Yeah, that'd be great. I see it in your future, Stein. I see it.
Oh, really? Well, that's nice. I appreciate that. I try to take care of myself. That's what, being a vegan and stuff, it helps.
Yeah. How
no
many
cholesterol,
days
no fat.
You work out? You work out?
I don't.
You're an exerciser? No. Okay.
I do try to put my socks on in the morning. That's getting to be a challenge. But that's about as far as I get.
You just got to squat low enough, man. You squat low enough, you can get them in. But it's good. I'm glad you're looking after yourself, Steiny. I've been doing the same.
I try to. I try to look after myself. I really do. I got to close out that window. Yeah, man. We're gonna move right into the guest today.
I know. I've been quite excited to talk to this guy. I'm actually quite. It's quite new. It's quite new for me. It's quite new for me. I've only ever heard of this guy from you, and because I know that you do some work with him in terms of his his YouTube and his chat stuff. And so you always, are singing such high praises about the guy.
I help moderate it. I am just one moderator out of probably 1,000. He is man. Yes. He's a man of 1,000 wrenches.
A man of 1,000 wrenches. Okay.
Yes,
but he's kind of new for me. He's new for me. So I started watching him maybe a couple weeks ago. And I recently watched a live stream. I think it was just the other day. I say watched. I was listening to it in my car when I was driving to go somewhere.
He's really good. He's really good.
Yeah, man. I like his vibe. I like his style.
To watch him. I tell everybody to watch him because he's brilliant. He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's got a cool style. He seems to know what he's doing. But one thing I do like about him is he just keeps telling people, "Hey, I don't know what I'm doing. Just do this is not
shit.
Financial advice, but
right?
Exactly. Yeah. Do your own thing." And I like that.
Well, he gives good advice. He does. Yeah. But you can't say this is. I don't understand why you can't say that shit.
It's all, dude. Everything is financial. Look, I know the legally, but has anyone actually ever made a trade based on something somebody else has said,
Me?
And then they come back and sue them?
Did.
Like, who'd you sue?
No, I didn't sue anybody.
No, I'm talking about that. Like, so has an influencer ever said, no, this is financial advice, and then the person went away, traded, lost money, and then they sued the influencer? I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think so.
Know. Well,
it's kind of a weird thing, but I get why people say it.
But I want to let you know. Okay, well, I'm going to bring up this guest, but he is Gary Gensler's favorite show, and I don't know if you know him, but he's his favorite show. And I had wrote a little intro, and I don't know if he's even going to get the intro right. He's Gary Gensler's favorite show. The man is still looking for Rose's Cantina. I want to bring up. I'm going to ask him if he knows. I want to bring up Rob from Digital Asset News.
Ooh.
Hey, Rob.
Who?
Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Did you get that intro?
Good.
Do you know Rose's Cantina?
No, I don't know Rose's Cantina is.
El Paso, the song El Paso by Marty Robbins. You have to listen to it. He's a man looking for Rose's Cantina.
Yeah, I think is that the one where fell in love with a Mexican girl? Is that the one?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Rose's
that's the
Cantina.
only that's the only sentence in that whole song. I think most people will know, but maybe the Rosa Cantina. But if they've known the whole song, but yeah.
So how are you doing today, man? Thank you for coming on the show. Really, I just want to say thank you, man.
Here.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, for having me on. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, the markets, some banks are doing so good, but I mean, me personally, I'm doing fine.
Well, I don't worry about the banks, man. They can do whatever they want. I keep all my money in oatmeal. I just buy oatmeal. I keep boxes of oatmeal, man.
Storing that paper in the
well, you know, gold is good. Gold is still good. I mean, you know, the thing about gold is if you keep it in a secure, like you would with crypto, these companies can go under. Like when I was younger, I was with the American Board of Trade. I was DCAing when I was before I was in high school, you know, and then American Trade went under in the 80s and lost all my silver. You know,
that sucks.
Yeah, man. I could have been a silver
because that was paper silver, right? That wasn't like you actually held the silver. You didn't hold the gold. So when it went under, poof, there it goes.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And I think a lot of people do that too. A lot of people feel secure buying gold that way.
Yeah, and it's a mentality, I think, because you know for so long, I mean, we're all variable in our ages, but throughout, I mean, the last 60, 70 some odd years, I mean, mostly, at least 40 or 50, the safest place has been. I mean, if you look at not the safest, but the place where mentally people think it's the safest is the bank. They say, well, it's this is FDIC insured. I'm going to put it in the bank. And it's going to be okay. Although, you know, FDIC insurance wasn't jacked up to 250,000 before, I believe, prior to 2008. I think it was only 100,000. And before that, it was 10,000, 8,000. Right. So like people just kind of got used to, well, the bank, it's in a bank and I don't see it. So, I mean, it's going to be safe. I think that's the same problem with paper silver, paper gold, paper Bitcoin. And these even like centralized exchanges that we have now for crypto, people just say, well, I don't have it, but I look on my phone and my phone says that I have X amount of Bitcoin. So I must have X amount of Bitcoin because it says it is, just like my bank. Unfortunately, just like we saw with FTX, they were supposed to have $1 billion worth of Bitcoin and they had less than $1 million. So I think the time is coming when people start to realize, okay, maybe I really need to take possession of this. But it's so rare that people do, right? I mean, how many things do you really have possession? You have cash. Unless you own your car, you don't have your actual title, right? Unless you actually own outright your house, you don't have it. It's with your mortgage company. So a lot of people aren't really used to the whole fact of going, oh, this is mine, except I think for like physical cash, physical gold, physical silver, and now in cold storage devices such as this for their Bitcoin, which is you can't tamper with it like you got screwed over, Stein, with your paper silver, because no one's going to be able to get into this as long as you have your 12 or 24 mnemonic phrase, and that's the whole beauty of it.
You know, and I think the big thing is with the markets and like the housing market and all this stuff. Even if you own your house and you have a financial problem, right, that sucks up all your money, now you can't pay the taxes for the property. Right. Then you're screwed because you really don't own it. You own it, but it's still owned by someone else, basically.
The county, the city, the state, the county, the city, the land.
Right. So what do we really own?
Well, you will own nothing and you will be happy. I'm not even going to go there, but
yeah, right. Yeah, let's do some Charles. What is it, Charles Schwab? Yes.
Hey, before we go on, someone just before I came on here, one of my assistant, he sent me a story. And Se7en, when you said that no one's gotten sued, no YouTubers gotten sued so far if they say this is financial advice. Well, they just dropped this, that there is a class action lawsuit brought by an individual from Florida, and they are suing in a class action lawsuit a bunch of YouTubers like the big ones, BitBoy and Graham Stephen and Sagpring Singh and a bunch of other different ones for their role in FTX. So
wow,
that just came out today. So you think about it, like when people say non-financial advice, it still won't protect you, because if you are, actively promoting something and somebody says, I don't like how this is America, and then you get on a class. So you never know. Right.
Well, this is the promoting things of it, is how can they get around that without having any kind of legal backlash? How do you think YouTubers should move forward? Because I've been in crypto since 17, and I saw the rise of the crypto YouTubers, the crypto influencers. I saw them coming in and pumping and trying to hype up and what's the word when you hype up a token again? It's man, it evades me now.
When you start to pump, you start to hype, you start to
exactly.
Pump
and so I see it exactly. So I send these guys, doing all this. How do you see YouTubers moving forward away from that? Because I know the whole BitBoy thing occurred recently in the last few months, where he came out, he was getting in a bit of trouble with these things. How do you think YouTubers are going to move forward? How do you think the industry is going to move forward with YouTubers kind of not promoting projects but talking about them?
Well, the thing is, legally, like anybody who wants to come on and say, you know what, because of these things that were said, I'm going to sue you. And you could have multiple lawsuits come at you. I mean, I've been sued before. It's no fun. That's just the way it is. This was before YouTube. But, like for me, like I talked a lot about Voyager. I talked a lot about Celsius, and those two institutions went under. And then so someone might say, well, anybody could do a class action lawsuit and go, well, we're going to sue the pants off you because you promoted or you talked about this one. Well, now you have to get a lawyer, which, okay. And then you have to get maybe multiple people in there because the lawyers that are there. And you have to see if there's any precedent beforehand. So how will YouTubers move forward? They'll probably be a little bit more careful, but it'll never stop. I don't think it'll ever stop anybody at any time to bring any kind of lawsuit against people that are on YouTube or on Instagram or whatever. So
yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, if you're commercializing it, I guess you could be sued, but I don't see how you could be sued just talking. I mean, I think it would come down to, and I'm not a lawyer, but I think it would come down to discovery, which would be like, well, we are saying that, you were misdirected and you were paid for a service that you knew was illegal, that you knew was going under. Because if you think about it, like, well, yeah, if you did know that, but
yeah,
but it can't be.
I think
it
it'd be
can't
hard
be any.
Yeah, it's probably hard to prove, but you got to understand. I would assume, with class action lawsuits, sometimes people just pull those out. You say, I want to sue you, either for publicity or they just settle out of court. And it's a good way to.
I don't think it can be any different than somebody showing you how to do. Well, maybe something on YouTube that could be dangerous, or Jackass the movie, or anything like that. If somebody
wants to, they can. Yeah.
And they get injured. I mean, can they sue? I mean,
well, it's just like, well, like you guys go down to the gas station or the supermarket and you slip and fall. My back. And then you say, I got to sue this place because there was no sign out here. I mean, it happens all the time. Yeah. But I will tell you, like, this case will make me, really start to think about, it's not retaining legal services, but taking a look into legal services, because you never know, which is kind of crappy if you think about it, right? We do these things. I mean, you guys do this because you love it. I talk about things because I love crypto and where the things are going. But then now you have this on the back end. You're like, well, man, maybe I can't talk about anything. So.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking.
I want to get into a couple other things. You used to live in Vegas, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I did too. So when
I
lived in
Henderson.
Oh, well, that's not too far. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
which is like, I mean, yeah. If people know, it's like right outside. Like here's Vegas in the Strip, and Henderson is just like right off the loop.
Right. So yeah, I lived. What was it? South. Yeah, south down there somewhere. They have the Silverton there now. It was over in that area. I don't know. I rented a house over there with a bunch of people. I was a chef out there. So I worked at Mandalay Bay, Paris Hotel, and the Orleans at the Prime Rib Loft. So cooked a lot.
Paris. Cooked a lot. That's my favorite part of Vegas. Not the gambling, just the food.
Oh, I love the food.
So how come you left Vegas and where are you based right now?
In Puerto Rico.
Okay, so tell us more.
I left Vegas because, well, I moved there from El Paso and me and my wife split. And I have family over there. So I said, well, I'm just gonna get out of Texas for a bit and I'll move to Vegas. And because what's not a worse place to be when you split from your wife of such a long time and you want to go someplace. And so I moved over there and it was just debauchery, awful. And of course,
fear and loathing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it was a great thing because this is where I learned that there was a great book by Tony Shea, I always call him Sai, from Zappos called Delivering Happiness. And he has this little graph about life happiness. And on the corner left-hand side is like the rock star happiness, right? Which is like, all the women and all the alcohol and all the drugs and all the excitement, right? But then there was a timeline of how long that lasts and how you have to reaccumulate that to get to that next high. And then right in the middle, or the next one and the upper middle, it was all about finding life purpose, doing good things. And then of course the timeline goes higher because once you find that, of course you don't have to like reacquire. And then at the very top upper right-hand corner was even more of your life purpose and helping others and doing good things and building. And of course the timeline, of course, once you hit there, then it will go and it kind of goes off into like infinity if you think about it. And that's where I learned that, and everybody talks about, and you guys know this, right? So when people like say, okay, when I hit it big and I don't have to work, it's gonna be great. I'm gonna move to Vegas and I'm gonna do all this crazy shit and I'm gonna have a great time and then I'm gonna live that life for my entire existence. And let me tell you, I lived in Henderson outside of Vegas for 2 years, and it was about a good year and a half too long. I will just say that because after so much time, you just get like, this isn't where I want my life to go. And then of course, once you're able to figure that out, then you start to put your life priorities in check and you start to figure out what's really important.
I think everybody should experience Vegas for 1 year. Just 1 year of their life. They should go to that wonderful, beautiful shithole. It's beautiful. I mean, Dean Martin says that's where I leave my money. That's why I have to go back. So it's one of those places that if you have any vice whatsoever, whether you drink, like women,
you can get to it.
they will.
It's there.
They'll exploit it. They don't exploit it. You'll exploit it because it's there. You can get anything or do anything that you want to do. I mean, there's no clocks. There's no time limit. There's no shutting down. You could literally drink yourself to death
straight to the
ground, you wanted to, I mean, I was here's a little story. I was in the Luxor one night. I was playing cards with Alan Shoemaker and a bunch of other people. And my buddy didn't have enough money. He's like, I'm just going to go sit at the bar and drink. I'll play some slots. They'll give me some free drinks. So I went back to get him. An hour later, I couldn't find him. Looked around, couldn't find him. I finally went into the men's room, had to go into the men's room. And then I saw his shoes under the stall, like right there. And I'm like, I called out his name and he's like, you need to help me. I'm like, what's wrong? He says, I drank too much tequila and I can't stand up. Right. So this is how Vegas is. I brought him out to one of the ladies and I said, I sat him down at a slot machine. I'm like, can you get security over here, get my buddy a wheelchair so I can get him out to the parking lot into the car? And the lady's like, we don't do that here. You're going to have to go over to security. And as soon as he said that, he threw up all over the $25 slot machine. And they're like,
Yeah.
no problem. And they're
Second
wheeling
part
us
of that.
out. They're wheeling us out into the parking lot. And the guy looks at me, deadpan serious, not joking. He goes, which one of you are driving? Because they don't have any laws on the casino. If you're in a casino, there's no police. They have their own basic laws in these casinos. You can drive. Yeah, go ahead. If you want to drive, go ahead. You can't sue a casino. There's no way. You could slip and fall and break your neck, and there's no way you're going to sue a casino.
Even if they say not financial advice, huh?
So, yeah, I did get my buddy home, but, there's debauchery to be had. There's debauchery to be had.
I just want to, I hope you don't mind. I just kind of want to bring that conversation back to what you were speaking about before with regards to finding happiness. It's interesting you brought that up, actually, because I was speaking to Stein about this prior to the show, and I have a question for you.
Sure.
I've seen people succeed in my life, friends that have achieved success, financial success, I would say, more so than any other kind of success, and I see these people change. They become something else. Whether it's the power, whether it's the just the money, the respect, whatever. How do you think? This is quite a philosophical question, and what is the universe kind of question. But how do you think people can achieve that success and not change and not become an asshole, not become this I'm the best. I am, my time is more valuable than your time. How do you think people can avoid that power trip?
It's almost impossible. And I think a lot of people have to go through it because they have to experience it. And the only way, like Warren Buffett will say, you have to learn from mistakes, but they don't have to be your mistakes. So hopefully someone will hear this story and be like, oh, that makes sense. And I'm not going to do that. Unfortunately, people will still be like, well, maybe if I just slide a little bit, maybe, well, now that I made, my first million, maybe if I, do this and a little bit of debauchery and then a little bit more. I'm not saying to not have fun. I'm just saying that, as time goes on, you might just start to slip down a little bit. And then the story that you're going to hear today, it's in the back of your mind. You're never going to think about it. So it's a great question. And the answer is, I don't know if you really can. I think you have to go there and screw up. And I think you have to go down there and break things. And I think you have to realize that just because you made it and you can show all your buddies and your family and your significant other that you are the king, what is it really in the end? What does it really do for you as a person? Have you done enough? Have you given the most things to your family, to your spouse, to your kids, to your grandkids?
Served others.
Have you helped those? Have you constantly improved and helped to improve those around you? Because I got to tell you, even though you can make 10 million, 100 million, which is great. I mean, make a lot of money, great. But as time goes on, you're like, well, what do I buy another yacht? Do I get another pool room? Do I get another green screen?
Yeah.
What do I do? So I don't know if there's a way to do it. The only way one thing I will say, I'm sorry, is this, if anybody has these questions like, well, how do I not screw up? There's always, I always take a look at, there's a website, the Daily Stoic, and you can read all the teachings from the Marcus Aurelius, the Epictetus, the emperors of the past, where they can tell you like how to deal with the power that comes in and the things that accumulate wealth and not go off the rails. But again, very tough.
Okay, Stoicism. Yeah, I've read a bit about it. And Marcus Aurelius, I hope I said that correctly. But I was telling Stein, because I see it's. I watch different videos and you often hear people who have quote unquote made it. There's I think I was watching a Gary Vee video the other day, and he was saying the majority of people who have made it are unhappy, and it's because they're always trying to achieve that next level, like what you were talking about. I have the money, so I have the supercar. Now I want the super yacht. Now I want the super plane. Now I want the super jet. Now I want land on an island somewhere, and so they're always trying to achieve the next big thing, whereas the average Joe like myself who goes to work 9 to 5, he scrimps and saves to go on vacation twice a year. And you can be, I'm not saying I'm happy, but you know what I mean? Like it's but the difference there. And that's what you tend to find. You tend to find people who have kind of made it. With your experience, other people that you've met, is it kind of similar to that? Or,
well, you got a lot of, you have a lot of Bitcoin,
buddies
out
Bitcoin
there, right? That started with the dollar a Bitcoin,
Well, yeah, it's a great question. So let me tell you, like, here in Puerto Rico, there's a lot of Bitcoin OGs. And I will just say this, and we'll preface it with this. I'm glad that they'll tell me all the time about how, when they got their Bitcoin. And I'm like, that's great, Jerry. And then, and I'm always saying to myself, okay, you got one thing right. Congratulations. But I just, like, when we're talking, then they start to, all of a sudden it's like, well, there's this new project and there's this new project. And believe me, there's no shortage of new projects out there. So when I listen to them talking about it, are they happy? I think there is one thing that I can say that everybody has in common who's done really well in crypto, or most of them, is that the ability. Remember when you were like younger and you had to like, you're like, how am I going to pay all my bills? And you had that pressure. Or I'm a young dad. Like, how am I going to pay for this? Or support this family. When you have enough to just actually get and say, oh, I can pay my bills and I can support my family and I can help the people around me. I think that right there is like, you're like 90% there. And then like Se7en, like when you were talking about, people are like, well, I did this. And now if I can get to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and before you know it, there is no end point, because the goalpost just keeps moving. I think if you're just content with the first part, then the second part is just like, it's just another thing to do or something to drive you or purpose. So
I found when I got older that, well, let's premise it this way. When I was younger, I think it's like this with a lot of young people. It's always me. I have to do my stuff. Yeah. I have to find the girls and find the booze and do my things that make me happy, right? Because that's what a lot of people do, and that's what I did. I was a chef in New York City, so
nice.
That's what you do after work. There's no sleep for the weary. When you're young, because you could be young and broke in Manhattan, and you're fine. I couldn't be old and broke in Manhattan, then you're miserable. So that's why I don't live in Manhattan. I don't have the 20 million for a brownstone. But as I got older and more financially stable, I found that I had to bring my family in fold with me. I had to,
right.
We had talked before, you and I, my mother has, a elderly disease with the mind, and so you have to take care of
talking about this.
Those people. You take care of your loved ones, and I found that once you're financially secure, it's not. I don't need a Lambo. I really don't. I mean, I would like to have one, sure, but I'm happy. I'm happy with my.
It's not worth the investment, Steiny. It's not worth the investment.
It's not an investment.
Stein, would you really want a Lambo?
No,
I'm telling you right now.
I can't see him in the Lambo, bro.
I tell you what, I've driven Lambos. I have driven Lambos. I have been in Ferraris. They are tiny inside. Yeah. They are uncomfortable. I would, if I wanted a luxury car, I would get a beautiful Mercedes. Those things are comfy. Cushy. I don't need it. How fast can I go, man?
It's about A to B, brother. It's about A to B. That's all it is.
It's about A to B.
It's about A to B. If I really had, that's all you need, man.
Put it this way. I don't want to get off sidetrack, but if I really had millions and millions to do whatever I want, I would buy a Sprinter van. I'd get the inside all hooked up, and I'd have somebody just drive me around. I don't need to drive myself.
Oh, you get a chauffeur.
Sure.
So
why not?
You pay the chauffeur. Okay, of course you need that too. Yeah.
Well, if you had the money. I don't need to show off. I'd get a Sprinter van that looked like any other van, but the inside would be luxury and invite your friends.
I just wouldn't get a Lambo because I got bad knees, so I'm not going to squat down and get into the Lambo. sorry.
Well, it only
I'll
comes
take a
up.
Sprinter
they're
van.
pretty low. Yeah.
Sprinter van would be nice, right? I don't know. I'm happy with my Hyundai. I really am. I mean, I lease, so the payments, leasing on those things is brand new. Get one every 3 years.
You know what? Cars, bro. Cars. I used to be, when I was younger, it was all about, this car is fantastic. I need this car. This car is great. Dream car. Literally, I've achieved the state of fuckless gives. Or I just don't care anymore about cars. It's not something that, I need this big one. It, like Stein says, it'd be nice to have something. But for me, it's about A to B. And it's like what you were saying, Rob, it's family. It's the family and those around you. For me, it's all about helping out the people around me. That's actually my first thing, and I don't like to say if, I like to say when. You know what I'm saying? When, but I'm sick of, I'm getting sick of the chase, brother. I'm getting sick of the chase. Like, I mean, I'm 35 now, but, I've been chasing since, day one, like everyone else. And you just get tired of the chase. And I feel like it's like how I was in high school. When I was dreadful in high school, I was and I used to chase the girls. I used to chase them. Right.
Right,
and
every young man did, I think.
I would never get them. I would never get them because I was chasing. But the second I say, I don't care about you anymore, I'm going to do my own thing. They came, and I'm thinking maybe the dollar works the same. I don't know.
I don't know if the dollar works the same way. I know it doesn't here. If I don't give a shit about the dollar, ain't nobody giving me any money.
I'm not saying just sit on your ass and hope that you get $1 million check come through the post, but you know what I mean? Like obsession. It's the obsession is driving me nuts, which is why it's so interesting you were talking about this, because now I'm starting to look at life a little bit differently in terms of, well, is yes, as you were saying, it's great to have everything covered. It's great to have your family looked after and they got their house, blah, blah. But apart from that, man, it's just happiness, trying to find that, know thyself, understand what you are, and are you a religious spiritual man at all, Rob?
Not for like go to church every Sunday or any specific religion. No, not terribly, but of course, it'll be ridiculous to think that there is no God or there is no Jesus or there is no higher power. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And there is no, afterlife and so on and so forth. So not a specific one, but I mean, there is something obviously much above us that we can never even fathom to understand.
That was a heavy question, man.
Hey, I tell you,
that
man,
was
I'm
a
on
heavy
today.
question.
What is your, tell them what your, we were talking about this before. What is your point of view on this, Stein? You were talking about simulation theory?
I just think we're in a simulation, that's all.
But then again, that has to have a higher power.
Well, it has to have a higher power, but I don't know if I truly believe that, but it's an interesting concept that we're in a simulation. You never know, because if everything a human has dreamt of, they have made. So in science fiction, if you look at science fiction, everything that has been in science fiction, humans have made. Tricorders, we have them. All these gadgets that were in these shows, we are making them or have been made. So we're talking about artificial intelligence and how artificial intelligence destroyed the world in movies. We will make this, and that's what will probably happen.
This was my next question.
And then if we think that in the future we could be in a simulation, then we will end up making that, and then we are actually probably in a simulation now because we probably already did that. So everything a human has thought of making, we have done. We thought of going to the moon. Yeah, we go to the moon. There's nothing stopping anything that we.
Have you had to play with ChatGPT 4 yet, or any of the 304? Dan. Dan, sorry, did you last name? Rob.
That's okay. Yeah, everybody is Dan or on that. So like with I've done GPT, 3.5, and I haven't gotten access to GPT 4. But I mean, look, I mean, if you're talking about like simulation theory, it does make sense though, doesn't it? And if you there's somebody you can follow on YouTube, Bruce Lipton, and he's doctor, and he talks about how we're probably in some kind of simulation. Elon Musk believes we're in some kind of simulation, which would make a heck of a lot of sense. And we can just see it like just 6 months ago. Did anybody think that you could type in a question and say, I need you to use the voice of Jerome Powell, and tell me how to make an upside down pineapple cake with 5 or 6 ingredients or less. And I need you to do it in under 60 words. Like, you can't do that on like Google, and you can't make that happen. And then of course you just do that on ChatGPT, and there it is. And then of course you can do it like with music. You can also use Journey, long Journey, mid Journey, and essentially when that new one comes out, now things are looking photorealistic. And how far away are we from doing super deep fakes, which looks exactly like you and me?
And that's scary. That can get very scary, especially for other countries that don't know that this is not legitimate.
Okay. News. So exactly. So here's an example, right? Zelensky comes out and he's on a YouTube channel and he goes, "My fellow countrymen," and of course, he's speaking his native language. He says, "It's time to lay down your arms and surrender to Russia. Sorry, made a huge mistake." And then that just goes viral. And Zelensky's like, hold on, I didn't do that, but it looks just like him, and it sounds just like him,
right?
And the same cadence, and everything is perfect. That, or how about this? And I've heard about this happening. You get a phone call, and you're like, "Yes, hello, yes, this isn't important, but we have your wife." "What? Yeah, my wife." And
oh man, I didn't think about that.
And here, you talk to her right now. "Honey, what's going on?"
They got me.
They need this money, and then it sounds just like her, and she knows things. I mean, that's the next evolution.
Haven't they
I didn't even think about that, man. That was out of my whole scope of thinking. I never even thought about using it in terms of like ransom, and that's scary.
I think they've already done that. Haven't they already done that with somebody's voice of what they're scamming people? Like what they're doing is they're taking a person's voice and they're calling up their grandparents as that person's voice and asking them to send them money. That's very similar.
And sometimes, of course, they get caught because it's not the same cadence and it's not perfect because they'll ask them certain questions. But if you can do AI and just feed them the information, you can do whatever you want to. So that's the
I'd like to be
thing.
Christopher Walken. I like that voice.
But I wanted to ask you just I got a brain like a goldfish. I'm here, there, I'm everywhere. But Stein was telling me that you do some work with animals.
Yeah, so like this is the thing, like we were talking about. You find some kind of purpose in your life, right? I love dogs. My best friend just passed away. My dog of 14 years, just December, and it's crushing, because they're around so much. So I was like, well, he was a rescue. I got one dog left, thankfully. And I was looking at things to do to give me some kind of purpose. And there's many a shelter here in Puerto Rico, a lot of dogs in the street. There's one called Amigos de los Animales. And we go there and we clean the kennels on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we walk the dogs along the pier, along the boardwalk, right on the beach. And it's really nice. So like, I just invite everybody to go, hey, if you're in the Puerto Rico area and you want to talk crypto, come on down. All you got to do is walk the dogs for an hour, and I'll treat you to breakfast afterwards. So we do that every Sunday at 8 in.the morning and go from there. And then, of course, I got to give something to charity. So I'll give to them. I'll give to an organization called Protechos, which they build roofs for economically disadvantaged people here in Puerto Rico, because I don't care what you say, it's tough to live if you don't have a roof. So those two ones are, they kind of give me a little purpose. But yeah, the dogs, it makes sense. And it's just something that like I show people, like you can do whatever you want. It doesn't have to be grand. Just do, take baby steps, and it may not be much to you, but it's huge to the people that run that organization, and of course, it's bigger for the dogs.
Well, before I sold my company, I had that's why I don't do anything.
That's why he's got time today for this. Yeah.
My purpose is you actually, Rob. Before I get into that statement, Rob, you are the one who got me into cornucopias back last year. You got me. You said something on your show about this game, and then I looked into it because I was just getting into crypto,
right?
And during that bull and all that drop, and I lost money, but not a lot, because I treat it like gambling, because I love to gamble. I love playing cards. So
you're in the right industry then. Yeah.
Yeah, I treat crypto like gambling. I do not risk more than what I can afford to lose. It's just stupid to do that. I do not put up a mortgage to buy something because I think it's going to go to the moon. That's just, if you got a couple extra grand or you want a DCA, do it. But if you don't, then if you don't have it, don't do it. That's how I think you should treat crypto. If you're broke and you want to try to do something, don't put all your money into crypto just because you think it's going to go up. You feed your family first. That's what I would do. And maybe if you have a little, buy just a little crypto, something that won't hurt you. But what I was saying, what I wanted to get onto, what I was saying, you got me into cornucopias. This is why I do this with a guild. I'm with a guild now, and I help run the guild. And we have a DAO and all this stuff. So what I was going to...
that good project. I like that project. Built on Cardano.
Right.
Cardano.
Mm-hmm. Are you a big gamer? Do you game at all?
I used to be a big gamer, but as I get older, I'm like, I'm not gonna play. But I do I see that, and get off topic, but I do see how NFTs fit into the gaming ecosystem, and how I think it's going to be a big thing. I personally think that Cornucopia is a great game and it's good for gamers, but I got to tell you, a lot of these, these are super hyper realistic games. I think that the big kickoff will be the super casual games, the ones that like Bubble Pop and all the Candy Crush and those stupid games that everybody plays consistently. Flappy Bird.
Yes, we want to know about that. We want to, because I was telling Se7en about that the other day.
Me too.
So, yeah, you're into Flappy Birds, right? You bought that or got the rights to it or something?
You into Flappy Birds, huh? Yeah. Sounds kind of dirty, Stein.
Yeah, you went to Flappy Bird. It sounds like a rundown club in Florida.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. The Flappy Birds right on the intercoastal. It's great.
That sounds so filthy.
So yeah, casual gaming. There is a you guys can look this, or anybody watch the video. There's a website called Pogo.com, Pogo.com.
Right.
And it's when my wife. Yeah, my wife constantly plays that game. I'm like, what do you? And I just watched her, and it just looks like the same games you get on your phone. And she's popping balloons, and she's moving things, and little words are coming up. And I'm like, what do you win? She's like, I get these tokens. I go, oh, that's cool. I go, what do you do with the tokens? Do you they go to an exchange and you can get cash? No, I just get tokens. I'm like, what do they do?
Uh-huh.
They don't do anything. I can buy little outfits. I'm like, that's it? That's dumb. But it doesn't matter because I get it. It's like a little slight dopamine hit every time you win something. And it's just like gambling. And the same thing that they do in other games called loot boxes. So I was like, that's pretty interesting. And I took a look at Pogo.com. It's I forgot the price. Let's just say it's $10 a month. There's multiple websites like this. They get 15 million unique visitors every month. So let's just say that you're 15 million unique visitors, right? At $10, not bad. And for what you're doing, if you're playing like that, if that's how it is, I forget. But let's just say, you just make, I don't know, 10 million a month off that. Of course, you have overhead, whatever. So I look at that, the casual gaming. I think that's a little bit, will probably be bigger than like the super realistic game. There's obviously a market. So funny enough, here I am in Puerto Rico and playing volleyball on the beach. And a friend, guy I met, Jonathan, he's like, we talk about what we did, and he's like, oh, he was a trader and a market maker for these different crypto projects and things. And he says, hey, we're looking into getting Flappy Bird. I'm like, that's stupid. That's a dumb game. And he's like, yeah. He goes, but we're going to turn it into a Web3 game. And this was last year. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then when the Texas came back and he said, hey, we're going to go in. You want to go in? I go, now that I understand about NFTs and how things kind of work, I'm like, sure, let's do this. So with Flappy Bird, what we're trying to do is we have the IP rights. We're going to relaunch it on Apple, iOS, Android. There's a lot of knockoffs, which we have to contend with, but that's why you buy the IP rights. And then the next part will be the Web3 aspect. So you'll still be free to play. You'll still be able to play on Apple and Android. But the Web3 version is just like, well, okay, you guys, Stein, well, you know about this project I talk about, Sweatcoin, all the time, right? App you download, you get these tokens. It's free, but the tokens don't do anything. You can use them in the app to buy certain stuff. The magic is to take those tokens, put them into your crypto wallet, take those to the centralized exchange them for money, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever you want to do, and that's just by your walking. Same thing with Flappy Bird. So you play this on Web2, you get these tokens, they go into your wallet, and then you can start to play Flappy Bird on your Web3 wallet within it, and you can start to what we call win to earn. So you have these tokens, we'll call them Flappy tokens. You can send them to a centralized exchange. You can swap them out for whatever you want to. Again, you're playing this dopamine little goofy game, and then you can play against other people. And if you are good enough, then you win specific amounts of Flappy Bird and an NFT, and you can put that into your wallet. I think I will probably have to work on how I explain that better next time. But it's the whole thing about casual gaming and making it simple and just showing people that if you're on Web2, you can play it. And if you want to come over here to Web3, there's an option, but you don't have to. So that's where we're going.
Mobile gaming. I think mobile gaming is going to be the entry point for most people doing Web3 gaming. Because everyone has a phone. And so how do you see the, not just a gaming, but crypto adoption? How do you see it unfolding in the future? What do you think needs to happen for, I know these are big questions, I know, but what do you think needs to happen for people to start accepting crypto? Because there's a lot of FUD. There's a lot of, I'm watching actual like commercials where they're putting crypto down. They're making fun of crypto in commercials that are on TV. And I think, well, this is not good. This is just, planting a seed of fear inside people's heads every time I watch this. So what do you think needs to happen for people to accept crypto?
Well, I'll start it off. It's a great question. I'll start off with a general statement, which is, I think that remember in 2017 when you and me got in, Stein. I don't know when did you get in?
Last year,
2017. Okay, last year.
No, man. Just
so peak of the bull, baby. Peak of the bull.
Yeah. So like in 2017, it was Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, nothing. I mean, essentially, that's what it kind of was. And we thought that crypto and digital assets were just going to be payments. And then, Ethereum will smart contracts. We'll see where that goes, right? Whoever would have thought that in 2-3 short years, we'd have NFTs, we'd have decentralized exchanges, we'd have, synthetic tokens or synthetic for stocks, if we really wanted to, on a decentralized exchange. Whoever would have thought that we could have been using NFTs for like a house, or for our digital ID, or for doing all these things. So I think that in 2023, the landscape of crypto will radically change every couple of years, every year. And the things that we think of where the mass adoption is won't be the mass adoption. It'll be something that we haven't even thought of. And I remember back in late 90s, early 2000s when the internet came about. And I was like, well, this is cool because now I don't have to go to the library and use the Dewey Decimal System to look up the books. Cool. And I think that's pretty much what it's going to be. Just going to be a bunch of information. And that's what it was for a while. But no one would have ever expected that. You're telling me that I could have my favorite cereal delivered to me with whatever kind of milk that I want and a couple of tires for my car from this place called Amazon? That's stupid. That's never going to happen. So I think that's how it is with crypto. But what do I think will be like the catalyst? A lot of people will think about it and they'll say, just like how, Mark Cuban talks about how there has to be a super app, some kind of app that makes things like super simple, super easy, super cheap, kind of like what WeChat is in China. And WeChat in China is all these different apps. Like you can have it's like a banking app, a dating app, maps, general information, and and like Airbnb, and it's all in like WeChat. It's all, you don't have to go for other different apps. It's just right there.
Convenience.
So, so if you had something like that for crypto, then that would be the big thing. We were talking about this today, about what could catalyst for people to understand how dangerous CBDCs are. And Guy had a good point. Huh?
Yeah. Sorry. No, please go on. Because one of the questions I have for you was what's your point of view on the CBDCs? I'd love to hear more about that from a man in your position.
Yeah. So like CBDCs, I asked the question, which I knew wasn't going to be very popular. And I asked Ben and Guy today, I go, what's the positives of CBDCs? What are we screwing up? Because, like sometimes I think that us in the crypto space, we're very easy to be judgmental and go, well, it's from the government, it sucks and it doesn't work. Or if it's out of Gary Gensler's mouth, then it's just a lie, which in all honesty, some of the things that he did say was true. I mean, it was pretty smart to not commingle funds, because I don't know about you, but I don't want my bank to commingle their funds and then buy condos for their family in the Bahamas like Sam Bankman-Fried did. So just to get back to CBDC, I said, what are we missing? What's the positives? And Guy said, very smart. He goes, look, people want it faster, easier, and cheaper. And he said, if they want to move funds around, CBDCs work pretty well for that, if that's what they're going to do. And then there's going to be Fed Now, which will be launched in June, July of this year. He goes, so when people get that and they're able to move funds around, and especially if they're trying to get funds from the government, instead of going to the bank into their account, and you have a wire, which takes 48 to 72 hours, depending on the bank itself, they're going to like that. And he said, that's going to be a positive. And he said, however, he goes, and there was this quote that he did a video like 3 days ago, just talked about CBDCs are coming. That's just, if you want to look at that, Coin Bureau, CBDCs are coming. And in one of those statements from the EU, it talked about how because of the CBDC that they're trying to put out, Bitcoin or whatever it's called, they're going to be able to stop runs on the banks. And Guy said, he goes, look, the way to stop a run on a bank is to freeze your account so you can't withdraw anything. He goes, and once people go through that the first time, that's all they're going to need to know to get them into a decentralized type of monetary system, which would be Bitcoin or, pick your crypto. And he said it just comes down to pain. Just like Se7en, when you asked me the question, like, how do people learn to not be that, king dingaling, the king of everything, right? And I'm awesome. Yeah. It's because you have to go through the pain. How do people go through and learn about, the detrimental effects of CBDCs? Well, they have to get frozen out of their accounts and screwed up. And I'll even say this, and I'm not perfect. When we got in Se7en in 2017, remember all the stories about Mt. Gox? You shouldn't put it on centralized exchange because it'll get hacked. And I was like, whatever, boomer. Our Maxi, I don't care what you say because I'm the new one and I know what it is. And what did we do? Voyager, Celsius, FTX, BlockFi. And they didn't get hacked, but they sure did screw us over and we lost a lot of funds. And if I just would have listened to them, but that pain will propel me for the next, until I get out of crypto, which is never, to inform people the dangers of centralized players, CBDCs, government. So hope that answers you.
I think that's going to be the catalyst. I think that personally for me, I think what's going to make people adopt crypto is exactly what you said, is when they see how flawed this CBDC system is and how it's controlled and it's they can see everything and they can freeze your accounts and they're going to have to seek out an alternative. And the alternative is
I think before we go down too far down this rabbit hole, because there's other things I'd like to ask you before we get off, is that you still need an on and off ramp. That's the problem with crypto. Right. Because if I want to get onto crypto, I can get as much crypto as I want. And then if the government says, hey, you can't get money on or off, and then I'm just stuck with crypto that I can't do dick with.
Can't do jack. Yeah,
right?
You're right.
I'm going to be stuck with it. What the hell am I going to do with 100 NFTs and some ADA and Bitcoin and shit? What am I going to do with all this shit if I can't turn it back into something I can use?
I will say it's a good point. Yeah, Stein. But so I thought about this too. I'm like, well, damn it, if these on ramps, because people are talking about lately about Signature, Silvergate, and Silicon Valley Bank, and they talk about, well, these were the big banks that are what like the centralized exchanges for crypto were using. Now we have no on-ramps. So now those just go away. In all honesty, Barney Frank came out and said, look, for Silvergate, he's like, we're not a big crypto bank. He's like, we have a couple of players in there, but they did ask the question. So we did say that, yes, we have crypto clients. He goes, but we're really not. And then there was another statement that came out that said, don't forget, these banks that are out there, and one of the largest ones, BNY Mellon, has many crypto institutional clients. And I think a lot of these banks, they're like, well, we don't want to deal with it because we don't want the risk. There's always going to be somebody. There's always going to, well, not always, but usually there's going to be somebody who say, you know what, I'll take that risk because I think this is the future. I think we can make a lot of, let's be honest, money. And then the banks will say, let's get into it. Now, let's say that they do screw us. And every single one says, no, we're not going to do it. Well, first of all, that'll only be, let's be honest, most of that'll be in America. It'll just float out to the rest of the world and they'll just pass us by, just like, how it's working on with infrastructure and everything else. But I think, remember that even if the banks don't do it, remember like Visa and MasterCard, there's different companies. One is called MoonPay. I'm not a big fan of them, because they charge like 5-6% to buy into crypto. You can use MoonPay right now. You can bypass all the centralized exchanges. You can hook up your Nano Ledger, and you can buy Bitcoin with your debit, usually your credit card though. And they're going to charge you 6%. And you can do that there. You can do that in Uniswap. And people will say, well, damn, Rob, that's a lot of, 6% is a pretty high fee, don't you think? I'm like, well, yeah, it's super high. But you know what the highest fee is? Remember FTX? Their fees were like 0.10, but in actuality, what was their real fee? 100%.
Yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah. So,
well, I guess nobody's tried to take money out of an ATM in a casino before.
I've seen it. Before we go on, I got to tell you, like, my favorite thing about living in Vegas, my favorite thing after so much time there, was going down Fremont Street and just watching all the tourists, like super hammered, drunk, just stumbling around. And then when they lost it or they upchucked, I'm like, oh, this is the greatest. I love this stuff. That was the most fun for Vegas for me after a while, just to see friends like yours, Stein.
Oh man, I just I thought I experienced all sorts of Vegas. Yeah, I experienced the $1,000 meals at Joe Robichaux's, over at MGM, all the way down to, Jesus, man, we don't have no more money. How are we going to get home? Because we blew our money for our Uber. We don't have, because this was quite a while ago. We didn't have smartphones. It wasn't Uber. It was a taxi. There was no smartphones back then. So
I remember those.
It's just, how are we going to get home, man? I don't know. When we blew all our money.
Well, what was great about that is if you had a quarter, you could go to this thing called a payphone. And you put that quarter in, and you call somebody if you could remember their phone number.
Yeah, because you had to. Yeah, I always had a little card that I would I would write. I'd get a piece of paper, and then I would scan it until I could get it into a little square, and then I would put that in my wallet with like 30 phone numbers on it.
Everybody had that.
Yeah,
sweet.
Rob, I want to thank you. We didn't get into some of the stuff that I wanted to, but we did mention the dog shelter and roofing and stuff. We're going to put all those links down in the description. We didn't get into your website about teaching crypto, which I apologize for. But if anybody knows you, they know Dan teaches crypto.
Dan teaches crypto.com. 100% free, always will be free.
Wow,
All my best.
I'm going to check that out myself. I could use some tips.
Yeah, well, I think you should. Yeah. So we're going to put all these links down in the bottom, and I really want to thank you for coming on the show. Yeah. And I hope it was okay. I hope the questions weren't too off topic.
Good, man.
Deep questions. It makes me think. So it was good stuff. Thank you, guys.
Good, all right, thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we can get you back on the show again at some point in the future, and we can talk a little bit more about the stuff that Stein was thinking about.
Well, you know, I never mentioned before I got into the thing that when I had sold my before I sold my company, we used to donate to the Boys and Girls Club. We would go down to Sam's Club or Costco and buy pallets of food.
Yes.
You know, and just have them drop off a pallet of food. And you know, because I know that you were with the Boys and Girls Club stuff, and that's what we used to do with my company. We just buy pallets of food, and we still do that. Nice. And up here they do a Christmas auction, and we go to that every year. Still, I still do that. So
excellent. See,
you gotta support those around you, man. Those
gotta support the people
some
around
people
you.
Are, you know, you sometimes you like I'm broke. Yeah, I'm not as broke as some people.
Chill. Hello.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm okay.
Well, you know, there's always somebody
thank
worse than you. So
yeah, exactly.
But,
thank you so much, man. It's been so nice meeting you. You know, I'm kind of starstruck, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We're gonna play our outro, man, and so let's say goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Alrighty.